You can learn Spanish just watching TV shows and films on Netflix. Yeah, I know that sounds like crazy, but this is how it works. But first, before that I explain you how you can do that, bueno, bienvenida y bienvenido. Welcome to Spanish for VanLife, the first and the only podcast designed to help you stop studying, finally start speaking Spanish for your VanLife adventure across Spain, Latin America o Guinea Ecuatorial. Yo soy Chris, la profesora de español para VanLivers, and today we are going to talk about how the hell you can learn Spanish just watching Netflix. Doesn't make any sense at the beginning, right? It's like, what? Well, um, I know that right now you are learning like a lot of endless of grammar rules and verbs and list of vocabulary, and you are doing Duolingo and watching YouTube videos. And what no one tells you about is that you actually can learn Spanish just doing that. This is not my story, but another person's story. And I mean, we are going to talk about Gregor. Gregor, I met him and he learned just with watching Netflix. Yeah, incredible. But of course, I'm going to explain some more things. Um, he learned, I met him when he was traveling through Europe. First, he was walking and he stayed at home using couch surfing, which is like a platform where you can stay for free in someone's house. I use it like when I am here, when I am in Spain or in another countries that I lived in, they stayed at home. Or when I am traveling, I use it to stay to someone's house. So before to tell you how he did to learn Spanish, just with Netflix, first I want to remind you that you have the list of the most essential verbs to learn the Spanish that you actually need for your van life adventure in Spain. Okay, you have the link in the description. So let's understand how he learned Spanish just watching Netflix. And it's crazy, but he just was at the beginning when the really first time that I met him, I can't remember, maybe it was 2022 or 21. And it was crazy. He could have a really deep conversation, but with a very basic structure. He has never studied grammar and he was able to have real conversations. He was able to explain to me that he traveled by he like walking at the beginning, then he came later and he was with like biking, and right now he uh the last time that I saw him on Facebook, he was already in Tarifa, and in a couple of months he's going to go to Latin America, always biking. And he's incredible. Like when I asked him, like, how is that possible that you just learned just on watching Netflix? He said, I love La Casa de Papel. So I was learning just watching La Casa de Papel and understanding the context. So he says really native sentences like, or yeah, like de puta madre, which is literally of beach mother. No, like literally is that your mother is it's a prostitute. No, not nice, but we use it a lot for saying that something is amazing. And like, do you want when I asked him, I don't know, do you want this for dinner? And he said, sí, 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 de puta madre, tía. And that was very native. However, when I asked him, like, I don't know, what are you going to do tomorrow? The words that he used were very isolated, like mañana, ir, temprano, temprano, muy temprano, temprano, a caminar, caminar y después Caravaca, muchos kilómetros, muchos kilómetros. So there, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is the real example that he learned also how the language worked because he was watching Netflix and he was listening the words with subtitles and understanding the context and catching the pronunciation. He was able to make connections. Of course, what I want, or what I want that you understand is that he could have any kind of conversation, real conversations, and he has a really difficult past where he bueno, he had this unstructured family, or he has these issues, family problems, and also he had problems with drugs. So what I want you to understand is like if a person like Gregor could learn Spanish in a very basic way and have real conversation, it's the same for you. I'm not saying that you just have to learn with Netflix. What I am saying is that you don't need to overwhelm with grammar because you can have conversations even if your grammar isn't perfect. Gregor's grammar wasn't perfect at all, but he could communicate very basic, but he could. And right now he can have really, really not, let's say he's not having like a good grammar, but he's very fluent, like real, very, very fluent. What I want you to understand also is like he can have really deep conversations right now, also because he wasn't afraid of making mistakes. Actually, when I say on cat surfing, now when people comes to my house and then I say, oh, I am Spanish teacher, so if you want, they sometimes become a little bit afraid of making mistakes. He wasn't. Like usually they like people ask me, oh, what is this rule? How this works? Blah 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 blah. And he never asked me something about grammar or nothing. He said, no, yo aprendo español con la casa de papel. La casa de papel de puta madre. Me gusta, me gusta. And so um this is what I want you to understand, that you can have deep conversations if you are not afraid of making mistakes, if you are not just focusing on grammar, if you really focus on enjoying the conversation and express the idea that you have in your head. So, if I can ask you just one thing after this podcast that you can do is try to the things that you learn maybe watching Netflix, maybe you learned de puta madre, or maybe with this episode, you learned de puta madre, which means amazing, love it. Like, oh, how was the film yesterday? ¿Cómo fue la película ayer? Buah, de puta madre. So put in practice like as soon as you can. And when I say as soon as you can, is go take your phone and text to someone that maybe you know that he or she is a native speaker, or maybe they are able to speak Spanish, maybe they are like their parents are also Latino, so they can speak Spanish or they understand somehow, and try to use one sentence with no focusing too much on grammar, because if Gregor could, of course you can. Okay. So just to remind you that you have the most essential verbs for vanlifers if you want to start learning the verbs that we vanlifers use every day. And also you have the program Arranca tu Español, which means start your Spanish, Arranca tu Español. And when I say start, it's like start the car because we have a special verb for that. Arranca tu Español, where you will be able to speak Spanish with good grammar also in just 8 weeks. You will be able to have real conversations, speak with people, with locals, have daily day conversations with the baker guy, with the person who does the check-in or in the petrol station, and you will be enjoying, finally enjoying speaking Spanish without learning just as you learned in high school, filling the gaps. No, that's not the idea. So remember that there are many, many ways of learning a language. Of course, as much as you learn grammar and that, you will be able to express the same idea with some details that if you don't learn the grammar, you will not able to do that. But there are many, many ways of learning a language. Just use the that one that you really enjoy, that makes you happy, and put that things into your daily days and into your routine. Like if you like watching Netflix, put Netflix on in English, even if the film is not in English. Like sorry, in is not in Spanish. Um, for example, I learned Italian with Breaking Bad. Yes, when I was in living in Italy, I learned. Well, I didn't learn just with Breaking Bad, but yeah, I watched that TV show and I learned so many things. And so, yeah, sentences like "de puta madre" in Spanish, but some of them in Italian. So choose the one that, bueno, not the one. Choose the ways that you like and you enjoy your life, for example, watching Netflix, and doing it in Spanish because there are so many people outside, so many that they really want to meet you and have conversations with you in Spanish because they are maybe not able to speak any English because I don't know, maybe they are from small village in Spain or in another country. Maybe they are old, but they have so many things to teach you about their way of seeing the life that they are just able to express you that idea in Spanish. So please learn Spanish so you will have all the knowledge that you are missing right now, but also they need that you maybe express something about your way of seeing the life that really they need to understand something about their life. I mean, what I want is like you understand that if you learn Spanish, you can share ideas and you can give and receive, yeah, love in Spanish way. Un besito muy grande. Hasta luego y nos vemos en clase. Chao.